Okay, so I guess the biggest thing I see with Twitch, YouTube, and society, which is kind of all the same now, is what's up with all the beta male behavior, right? And I don't mean beta male as in like a little bitch. I mean like they're almost caricatures of beta males. Like they're proud and they're. Do you know what I mean by beta male? It's like constant, like people who just gave up on themselves. How do you build confidence?
Confidence is a characteristic of identity. So I work a lot with identity,
Oh,
right?
that's so big.
Yeah. So I have a lot of clients. Actually, most of the people I deal with have either the idea is that if something traumatic had happened, there's a sense of a loss of identity, which can happen, right? I mean, if something extremely traumatic happens to you, you can imagine how you start to think, oh, everything that I worked on in myself, none of it meant shit. Something traumatic, something from the outside still um, penetrated that. So the idea is usually where there is a trauma, we're trying to reintegrate an identity. In some cases, we're trying to integrate identity for the first time. Man, you're so lost.
Yeah,
Should I go?
no. So I've actually never worded it like that, but yeah, confidence is identity. Like, what is a man without a black belt, right? That black belt becomes who he is. It's the reason he walks upright. That's a great way to word it. Yeah.
Dude, honestly, man, like I've done my homework. I'm one of the highest ranked therapists, as you know.
Yeah.
Clinic is doing
There's
great.
that ego.
No, I say this from a place of like, listen, you need to have a therapist who understands the psychology, the neuroscience of things. I went,
Yeah, there's a lot of weird ones.
there's therapists out there saying you need to give yourself a hug. I swear to God.
Bullshit.
She said this therapist that I heard about through somebody else told their client to imagine paying $150 for and they tell you just need to give yourself a hug. I'm in there thinking like, okay, we need to integrate identity, we need to identify values, we need to create a life that's compatible with those values. Because
I'd rather have the hug, dude. Wait, how do you even give yourself a hug? Wait a minute. So, could you imagine when you hear you need to give yourself a hug, and then your PayPal is charged $150 fucking dollars?
Genuinely, I was so embarrassed to provide that kind of therapy. I was like, I'm definitely going to be like the first intention of counseling is that you're just listening, right? That's the whole point, that you're an ear for somebody, you're a soundboard. But I was like, no, I want to know my shit. I want to know when a client comes up to me and sits down and says, hey, I've been struggling with depression. Like, what is it? I want to understand it spiritually.
What is depression?
Depression is a sense of feeling trapped. That's the best way I've heard it. The best way I've sort of interpreted from dealing with clients. And sometimes you can't even identify what's trapping you, limiting you, making you feel restricted. But if you can, and we've talked about this before, the control aspect, if you can reinstill a sense of control over your life, depression disappears. In most cases. Of course, there are some cases where there is a chemical imbalance and it's very, very difficult.
How rare are those chemical imbalances? Are they even worth mentioning, or are they like 0.001%?
No, there's definitely people. There are people that we've tried. No, because we have what's called the stress diathesis model. So it's this idea that diathesis, meaning predisposition, we're predisposed to maybe have lower levels of serotonin or dopamine or other monoamines. And so then it just becomes about, there's the diathesis, which is the predisposition, which is genetic. And then there's the stress component, which is the traumatic stressor. If it reaches a certain threshold, that predisposition will be activated.